Hey, what's going on YouTube? And welcome to the Beige Carpet After Party live stream review for live stream number 69 that we just finished up watching on May 14th, at least May 14th where I live. And here we are. We're here with our favorite friends and guests and our new friend here joining us for the very first time from the community. I'm going to let them all say hello. We're going to go ahead and start with you, Chip.
Hello guys, my name's Chip. I'm pretty active in the one FFBE community for being somewhat of a troll and a VV stan.
Good stuff. Glad to have you. Thank you for asking and wanting to be a part of this.
Well, thank you for having me.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sartre.
Hey there guys, Sartre here. Thanks for having me back, Gert. Always fun to get to chat about these live streams.
Good deal. And last but definitely not least, just because his name has an I in it after the S, Sinzar.
What's up, guys? Thanks again for inviting me, Gert. These are always fun to discuss the live streams.
And as you said in your news, sometimes complain.
Sometimes, yep.
Good stuff. So as usual, I've got some questions that I set up for you guys. The first one, in the news this week, they told us that during the live stream we'd be getting a surprise guest. Were you guys surprised by the surprise guest?
Sure, I had no idea who it was, so big surprise.
It wasn't Hiroki-san, so I was pretty surprised.
Yeah, it was pretty unexpected. It's cool to see more of the team. For me personally, I'm more of like a, actual tangible information person, not really like behind the scenes type stuff. So even though, the art team is very important to the game, it's like, I kind of like, game mechanics and all that more.
Yeah, and we'll talk more about specifically what they talked about with that surprise guest a little bit later in this video. But I was pretty surprised myself. I was, we were talking about this before we got started that, I thought it was going to be, surprise Hiroki, and I was wrong. So pretty cool. Question number 2 I had for you guys was, if they were going to add a different segment to the live stream and you could pick it and design it, what would that be?
For me personally,
good question.
Go
Go ahead, Sinzar. I was just gonna say, yeah, it's a good question, and I honestly don't know exactly what I would pick. I like that they talk a little bit more about the story of the characters, and maybe since they're clearly not going to give us story events, maybe a bit more on the story and the background of these like new global exclusive characters, as opposed to just reading their biographies off the screen. That could be something really interesting, because we get all these new global exclusive units, but there's just not a whole lot to go with them, or maybe just more in depth in their kits. Like Sinzar was just saying, having somebody come on that can actually talk a bit more about their kits, and rather than just having to wait for the data mine. I don't know. Maybe that's kind of where my head's at.
Cool.
Yeah, for me, well, the thing I would love is a live interaction taking question from the audience, although I do realize, corporations, they're never going to do that because they could be blindsided by questions. But something that they used to do in the past, people that watch the live streams, we're going way back, but Shali and Dasol, way back in the day, they would do like trial content as like a showcase. And, Shali would play or Dasol would play on screen. You see them do like the Rumble of Marlboro trial and stuff like that. And it was just really cool to see the actual game, developers and workers play in the game itself. And just, it was fun to see. It was a really cool little thing that, they stopped doing that. And I kind of wish they would do it again.
Mm-hmm. That was actually going to be my answer too, believe it or not.
No!
I would love to see like them play the game. Like I've mentioned before that like when Tony first came on, he was doing like kind of like a let's play, like I'm going to learn how to play this game with you guys kind of a thing. And I thought that was really cool when it was going on. So I would love to see some degree of that, like, Tony takes on Igaion for the first time or something like that. It would be just kind of fun. And yeah, that would just kind of be what I would love to see too, is just some actual gameplay, like take the new unit out for a spin, kind of a thing.
That would be pretty awesome.
Anything from you, Chip?
I was gonna say, I mean, you guys all gave great answers. I don't know. Both those answers are pretty good. Honestly, I think I would expand more on what we currently have instead of adding new segments, like updates to the actual content, or Sinzar already said it, going back to trial content and stuff. It'd be very good. We need more content.
Last question I had for you was, we've kind of come to expect that the monthly live stream these days is about Clash of Wills and the new unit. If they were going to do live streams for other types of content, and I guess this is kind of like the last question, but like, what else would you like to see them cover for us? I mean, I guess my answer for that's basically the same, trials and lore and, other stuff that we could do other than just Clash of Wills. I mean, I love Clash of Wills, but just there's other stuff to do in this game.
Well, I'll go out on a whim here. They don't normally cover anything for Dark Visions that often on the live streams, do they?
Not really. Seems almost like they avoid that subject.
Honestly, it would be pretty awesome to see them do more live streams about Dark Visions, especially shared. Shared Dark Visions are very cool. The normal Dark Visions are for whales, which is still awesome. Everybody has their own place in the game.
For me, what I would like to see is, some other games, when they do their like stream content for the month, they'll actually go over the entire month, not just the upcoming week. They'll cover the whole month, and then, by the time the next live stream comes, you've gone through that content, they talk about the next month. So you always have information on stream about stuff that's coming. And I wish they would do that as well. You don't have to spend that much time on it, but just cover each week. Like, second week, we're going to be covering the raid, third week, and go into the specifics of that. Just because it's fresh in my mind, I'll give you an example of what I mean. Like from the JP server, like if they were doing the JP event this week, they could say like, we've got a new exploration, you use it to upgrade Onion's equipments. We've got some new crown battles you're going to use to upgrade things like Merilith and Onion, stuff like that. Just like, a 1 to 2 minute discussion about each of the weeks. It'd take like 5 minutes in total. You could just really briefly give us the outlook for the whole month. And that'd be really great, I think, if they would do that.
Kind of like a monthly roadmap kind of a thing?
Exactly.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, they used to give us roadmaps back in the day, but I think they got called out too many times because they never really adhered to them. So maybe they're feeling a little bit jaded about because I completely agree. It would be nice to have like at the beginning of the month, hey, here's the rundown. Like they do the monthly bulletin in the in-game news. It'd be nice if they had a live stream to go with that and just say, hey, yeah, here's what's coming up for the month. We of course we love our global exclusive units. We'll kind of focus on those, but yeah, and Gumi's probably been burned too many times by Gungeoneers being thrown at them when they don't adhere to a strict roadmap. So maybe they're a bit afraid to do that, but I think that's a really great idea.
That would be really fun. I would enjoy that, especially from a planning perspective. Like you could go and I do this on a weekly basis, but like I go and I look at the wiki from the JP side, and I look at kind of like what trials and what stuff like came along with each event, and like I don't know, maybe that's digging too deep behind the curtain, but like I would definitely enjoy knowing like from a month's perspective, like what could I kind of like get an idea, what am I planning for? So I don't know, cool ideas. Speaking of, we love our global exclusive units. So this is where we're going to kind of dig into it. They said that our new unit coming out is Ruin Explorer Nora, and they said that she's from the.
You gotta say it first.
Oh yeah, seriously. I think they said that she's from the Chinese server. Is that what they said?
Yes.
Yeah, her
yeah, just like Melissa.
Yeah, I probably can't pronounce it, but her name in the Chinese version was like Z Xiao. I'm probably butchering the pronunciation.
Wow. Okay.
But yeah, they apparently localized it to Nora for the global server.
Your name's Nora now. Yeah. And she's a mage. I believe they said specifically she's a physical type mage. Physical type magic damage. If I remember them saying that correctly. Did anyone else catch that?
Yeah, it should be.
Yeah. So another mage you can't take to the magic stages in Dark Vision.
I know. That burns people so much too. I see that question in Facebook all the time. So these units are worthless.
And they should really change that.
You see, I actually want to be the counterpoint to that. I think that that's just people do use that immediately. I even saw in the Discord chat, people said, "Oh, she's physical mage, she's useless. I'm just not pulling for her because I can't use her in the dark vision stages." Like, this might become off as condescending. I don't want to, but are anyone other than new players really struggling to cap the mage stages? Like, you can go off element with the wrong unit, like Dark Rain can cap at any element, etc. Like, they're not that hard, but I see so many people just lose their mind because a unit is physical type and they can't use it on the sub bosses and dark visions. I think it's a non-issue, but I agree. People really get worked up about that.
So
I feel like that's a call out to me.
I think it's an issue because for so long we've always been, preaching, mages are bad, mages are bad, mages are bad. So it's a mage, you don't need to pull this unit, just focus on this physical unit instead. I think that's where the issue has come from. Not that it's anyone's fault telling you to pull or not pull, but like historically mages have been pretty bad. When your options were, oh, you can cast Thundaga, like that's your ability. It's like, why would I want that? So I think that's part of the problem. But yeah, here she is, physical mage. And they showed some abilities for her too. This was like her super limit burst. So we know also that she's a super limit burst user. And here's what they said it does. It boosts the damage of certain LBs and boosts attack, mag, defense, and spirit for all allies, boosts damage of certain abilities, and restores charges of her certain limited use abilities for the caster. And then there's a bunch of math there that Sinzar really likes. Do you want to tell us more about that math?
So basically, if you're a morale scaling LB user, other than Suhiko, who is excluded, it'll give you a bonus of 25x to your LB out of Clash, and then in Clash at max morale, it'll be a boost of 50x to your LB. And then for units with a multi-part LB, it'll apply multiple times to each part. For example, 2B, it'll be a 100x boost.
Pretty strong, right?
It's definitely strong for well, it's just strong, period. But some units will really like this, and then the Oliveira meme just keeps getting stronger. Like at this point, with Cool Smile, with Sylvie, with Nora, and with Melissa all stacked on Oliveira, like what's his LB at? Like 1500 or something?
That is disgusting if they all stack.
Yeah, it's getting stupid. It's getting close to 1300 because before Melissa, I think the total was like 1095, and so if you add this one on there, yeah, that adds another 200, so 1295. That's a stupid modifier.
But the question is, was it doing good damage though for the high mod?
Last Flash of Wills, he was useful, and I think I did one clear with him. The issue is it's so awkward to set up, and it's just like so much investment. It's really just like a meme thing and not just a smooth, easy to use thing. But it's definitely impressive if you want to go through all the setups to do it.
Just like Vivi.
Poor Vivi. You can't go to Clash of Wills because you can't take Steiner. Oh,
Man, I wish.
Yep.
NBA Steiner win, right?
When seriously, they also showed us some other abilities.
100%.
You would pull NVA Steiner. You can just UOC him, dude.
No, I thought he said NV.
Oh, NV Steiner.
Definitely.
Yes,
I would definitely pull it just for the Vivi meme.
They throwed some abilities out. Oh, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, just real quick, touching on that SLB of hers.
Yep, I'll go back to it.
It is an SLB, right?
It is an SLB, Super Limit Burst.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So just keeping that in mind. But yeah, when I saw it, of course, I immediately thought of Sylvie, who does something very similar. And I believe, so Sylvie does, just a quick, comparison, Sylvie does, I think we did figure out it's a 30 times mod boost to morale-based LBs and a 60 times mod boost to non-morale. So keep in mind that, Sylvie's still got, might potentially have an edge because I think, for me personally, like I'm going to be bringing Flaring Ether Rain to a lot of Flash of Wills in the future, and he would get, he would not get a buff from Nora, but would get a buff from Sylvie. Would he get the buff on his pulverizing force with?
Well, it does.
Nora?
So what it says is,
or is that an added thing?
It says the SLB effects boosts boost damage for caster for morale-based damage abilities with an additional 100%. So it's like, but that says for caster, not for other people. So I guess not.
So it's only LBs.
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. So all right, that's good for the clarification because I love that they put all the extra info in here. I'm really glad they're starting to share some numbers. Oh my God, I had a bit of trouble reading it because my eye immediately goes to the red note at the bottom and it says does not affect morale-based LBs, and I was like, wait a minute, doesn't affect morale-based LBs? But then that's specifically for the evoke damage. So,
yeah.
All right, carry on.
Which is one person who has just consistently they just really don't want to let her be useful anymore. It's really sad. Oh gosh.
It is.
They showed some other abilities though. So a featured EX ability says boost defense, magic, and spirit by 500, boost damage for various chains by 200, and fill morale gauge by 500 every turn. Do we think that's EX2? Do we think that's EX3?
Considering
I would think
it's
EX2.
yeah, that's the chain cap or chain speed. I'm always confused when they're working.
Damage for various chains, I believe, is
That's chain speed, right?
yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because it would say limit. It would say boost
yeah,
damage
yeah.
limit for various chains.
Yeah.
Plus,
and we're assuming she gets that because she's a TDW mage with the 8 times chain cap. Is that what we're assuming?
Yeah.
Hard to
It
say.
should be. Usually Global's pretty in tune with the meta, and they realize that is the meta. It's JP that'll just make 4x units for no reason after we have a new standard.
Yep.
Plus, also, isn't normally the flat stat one the one that also has the chain limit damage?
Not always, because Tsukiko, it was at EX3, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
there are exceptions.
Now, they also have Enigma Wave, which boosts the accuracy of some physical attacks for the caster and reduces spirit and deals magic-based morale damage, morale-based magic damage, to all enemies and fills the LB gauge for the caster. And then she's got a Grandis. This says 1 use per battle, boosts lightning damage of LB, abilities, and magic, fills LB gauge, reduces her own spirit, and boosts magic for the next attack for the caster. We love single use.
That seems to be the classic 150 amp with built-in focus. You set up your big burst one time and then it's done.
Yep.
Yeah.
Unfortunate, but that's what we're getting. I mean, that's what they kind of give for everybody. So
That's why I really, even though I didn't pull him, that's what I really like about Dwayne. His Magnus gets refilled on his SLB.
well,
This should be the case for most SLB users.
and they did say restores some charges of certain limited use abilities for the caster. So it's refilling something. We just don't know what. It's definitely not going to be a 150% amp.
Yeah, she probably
No,
has.
they wouldn't do that.
Speaking of it, for her ability, her LB, it doesn't say. Are we assuming that's a 400% stat buff?
I would certainly like it to be. I'm assuming probably not, just because she doesn't have the support tag, and that is pretty meta. So she might, but I would guess probably 250 to 300.
Now, Dwayne does not have the support tag, and his is super ridiculous.
Well,
True.
I was also gonna say this though. It's on her SLB as well, so it could be higher than normal.
I definitely, certainly hope so.
Mm-hmm. That'd be nice.
They throw a
It would
curveball at
be nice.
450.
I mean, Dwayne started it. His is on, of course, a 1-use Magnus. So, I mean, it makes sense that it would be on a 1-use Magnus, something that powerful. But yeah, being on an SLB, and the fact that Gert, you pointed out that the increase in the mod boost is only for herself. That leads me to believe that she'll have a rechargeable Magnus ability similar to Dwayne, which means I'm gonna not. And one reason not to pull, because I can't stand these units that have SLBs that then buff a skill you have to use after their SLB to get the maximum damage. I can't stand those because you almost have to have them at EX3 for like a proper rotation, and I can't get behind there.
Yep, it is a huge headache. Speaking of Dwayne, does this look familiar?
Literally identical.
Yeah, just Clash of Wills, no elements, focus, same stats. Cool.
Like this was their chance to add one more, like to do like a lightning and Cal. Like that would have been like, why couldn't they? I feel like they should sort of like slowly build up to that. Like this would have been a good opportunity to do. Okay, yeah, Dwayne just had the Cal tag. Now we've got a unit that's got Cal and an element attached to it. Like, I don't know. This seemed like a good opportunity to do that, but maybe they're saving that for anniversary.
So yeah, have either or any of you guys actually used Dwayne specifically for his leader skill at this point, or have you mainly focused on using like Rain or Deosis or Ibarra, things like that?
I don't have them, so I can't.
Yeah, I've definitely used Dwayne's leader skill when I used 2B, because 2B, even with the 300% only, is still very, very strong in content. Like, she's great for the grace of whatever trials. Like, she's non-elemental. She does very consistent, steady damage. So yeah, I've actually done a few clears where Dwayne was basically a tag along to buff 2B.
Yeah.
Me personally, I only have Ibarra and Zach as 500%. I think the other leader skill I have is Ice Laswell, but he has seen 0 use.
That's a shame. Here is her TMR and STMR. So we've got a fist with 185 attack and 236 magic. That also boosts her magic by 500, not stackable, and physical and magical damage against beasts and machines by 75%. So even if you got more than 2 of these, or more than 1 of these, she can only really benefit from 1 of them. Except for the killers.
It is also, I believe, the strongest one-handed magical fist. So for just absolute, damage, you're going to want to duel. I think the next best is Cacteria at what, 210? Something like that.
Something like that.
Is that right?
It is definitely over 200.
Yeah.
I think it's 205.
It's something.
Okay.
But it's still a very high attack one-handed weapon. So, and then her Trustmaster Silver Sigil, it's an accessory, 60 magic, 2 resistances at 30%, and then boost equipment magic 75% when armed with 2 weapons. That is the goofiest number.
It's just because they want you to put 2 of them on there.
I know. Except it says it doesn't stack.
Like, not stackable is so goofy because we're getting Konshira's STMR, which is a 5-star, so you have infinite copies if you really want it.
And it's just straight. We were about to say the same thing. Yep.
That's true. That's true. So this is actually a completely worthless TMR, actually. Wow. Okay.
Unless you're just dying for the resistances. Yeah. Still, another source of magic true dual wield, which is like, we know right now it's exceptionally rare, but that's going to change on the 18th, they said, so that's cool. Yeah. Hey, it's not a 2-handed weapon though.
They finally didn't do a 2-handed weapon.
It's actually worse because this is one where you sort of have to get 2 copies, whether you want to or not, if you want her best in slot, because it's the highest attack weapon or magic weapon.
Yep.
Well, just wait. Like after her banner ends, they'll give out another unit with an even higher mag 2-handed fist or 1-handed fist, so that everyone that pulled for 2 copies of that STMR will be screwed.
Wild. Absolutely wild. Speaking of wild, she's got a vision card. She gets this. They didn't. I guess usually they specify you get it at 1 and 3. They didn't. But yeah.
It's got the levels.
It got the levels, so yeah, it shouldn't be premium.
EX1.
But Magic 130 with boosted defense and spirit and magic at 50%. Boosts LB damage 50% and 100% true dual wield magic, and then flat 500.
It's really good.
I like it.
And I feel really silly for pulling for Dark Rain's vision card because it has been power craft about 7 times at this point.
I like it. I mean, the 100% true dual wield alone is really nice. For we're struggling to build these units, so it's I like it.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Yeah, because I mean, with Conchira's TMR, we'll have a really nice accessory, but I don't think we have any materials with 100%. So having it on a vision card will definitely be helpful for TDW mages. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Very, very cool.
It kind of sucks that it's FFBE only though for the flat stats, but it's a good trade-off.
Mm-hmm. Someone asked me, I forget who it was before the stream. Are there any upcoming mages that are true dual wield from JP? Actually, the crowned Renoa during the Final Fantasy VIII event is true dual wield. So there's one.
Ah, nice.
Is she
Does
actually
she get the 8 times chain count?
Oh, I don't think she does actually. Now that I think about it. Oh god.
So we're gonna go TDH anyways.
Yeah, never mind. I forgot about that. That is so true. Yeah, now I remember. I was kind of irritated at that.
Wow, wow. The vision card looks pretty cool though. They showed the animation. They showed they gave a lot of backstory during it, which was I thought really nice. They showed like all the different sprites broken down, which is pretty cool. Speaking of backstories, they also went into it and gave us Nora's backstory during the description of her as a unit. So they kind of told this sad story that ends with she found treasure, but it's there. So this looks to be probably just like her unit description that you would see in the UI, but still they actually went in and gave us some lore on the unit, which I think is kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
Is it just the thing that we get in the game though? Like when you go and look up a unit's info? I'm assuming that's what this is.
I would guess
unit
so.
Bio.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Still better than nothing.
It's like I don't know. And this is where I wish. I mean, again, I wish they would do story events for global exclusive units again. But that's asking too much for Gumi, I think. But yeah, just like more on this, other than just reading the in-game bio.
Like when they did the Abigail banner, they just like popped up and were like, "Hey, here's Abigail," right? But they didn't go in and even do this. So everyone was just left scratching, like, "Who is this character? Why do we care about this character?" Other than the fact that she's like super extremely awesome in terms of her in battle use, But so I think it's just nice to get this, and they also gave it to us. They went back and gave us Melissa. So I don't have Melissa yet, so this is the first time I'm even getting to see this. But yeah, kind of cool.
Oh my goodness, I feel my condolences.
I swear I've been doing these daily 10 pulls, and like every time I see one, I'm just like saying in my head, "Curse of immunity, curse of immunity, curse of immunity," and then it's like it's Onion Knight. Like every time, like I do not need my 14th copy of Onion Knight. I'm sorry. Anyways, I digress. Let's talk about why we're really here, and that is the Clash of Wills Wolf of Unknown Origin. First ever 3-race Robo-Doggo, 3 race enemy in Clash of Wills, 3 weaknesses, 3 races, Beowulf. I think it's a cool looking sprite. I do wonder though about this 3-race thing. Like, why are we going into 3 races?
Do you think that's going to be a trend going forward? Like we're just now 3 races for all Clash of Wills, or do you think it's like just a one-off?
I don't know, because when it comes to gearing for 3 races, I mean you're pretty much talking like your main damage dealers have to have that Omni Killer Plus to make it effective, and that is really hard.
That's why I think it's probably going to be a thing going forward, because like it pretty much says pull for premiums because they're the ones that have that 200 all and let you realistically gear for this. Like trying to gear Sky as a damage dealer for a triple race for one that she doesn't have her naturals to, like, it's not happening.
She's got Beast but doesn't have Demon or Machine, so that would be a nightmare.
Yeah, so definitely. Although on the other hand, I'm not liking, because what I was told, I didn't confirm this for myself, and if I'm wrong, someone can say in the comments, but I was told that racial mitigation is not divided meaning the more races a boss has, just the more full-powered stacks of damage reduction you can go. So if you get racial mitigation to machine, beast, and demon of 50-50-50, that's going to be a total damage reduction of, oh god, quick math, 88%. On top of everything else, that's along with your general and your magical mitigations, etc. So basically, you're going to be reducing the damage to the point where you're just taking no damage, or they have to tune it with that in mind, meaning if you don't have that, you're just dead. So it could be.
Don't give them ideas.
I don't like either of those options. Can't we just have it be fun content for everybody?
Yeah, but and again,
it's like you either have everything or you die.
Mm-hmm. Now that's just what I've been told. I have not confirmed that for myself, so I really have to now go and check this in game if it really does divide the amount of races or not. So I will be looking into that very soon.
Good to know.
We can test it against that current weekly trial with the 5 races. What's that?
That is a perfect
test it on that. He's got like 5 races.
Mm-hmm. Actually, Sins, while we're on the topic of numbers and math, how much of a damage decrease are you getting if, say, you have 300% to beast and demon, but only 200% to machine for this Clash of Will? How much damage would you be losing out on?
You mean for killers?
Yeah, if you just say like you have 2 maxed and you're missing 100% on one of them.
Well, for that one, I am sure killers are added together and then average. So if you're at 300 to 2 and 0 to 1, you're at 300 or 600 out of 900 divided by 3. You'd be at 200% killer effectively.
Ugh.
It's pretty bad.
That's rough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's really rough.
Well, that's one way to make it a little more difficult, honestly.
Well, at least for this Clash of Will specifically, though, the weaknesses are very good for what we've just gotten for units. Mm-hmm. Very strong units.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the nice thing about this, I think you're right, Sinzar. I think this is going to be sort of the way going forward, and I think they're kind of going easy on us with Machine, Beast, and Demon because we have a lot of those killers, and we have a lot of good current units that are providing those killers. So I think this is going to be sort of a softball trial of 3 races, but I'm waiting for our Bird, Aquan, Fairy.
Yeah. So for the killer combo, this is by far the easiest triple combo because Machine and Beast have 2 different sources of 100% double killer, and then Demon has 2 different sources of 100% as well. So this is certainly the easiest possible triple race combo.
Yeah, and Sartre, if you keep giving them ideas like that, you will not be invited back to future videos.
Speaking of, I was gonna say, speaking of the triple races as well, for units that you could bring, doesn't Melissa have Demon Mitt?
Beast.
Yeah, she's got Beast.
Okay, I was thinking Melissa had Demon, and then you could bring Maeve for Beast.
Melissa is Beast, Dragon, Human.
I gotcha. She hasn't seen much use in like the past 6 months.
Esther can at least, depending on if it does more physical damage, Esther's gonna like tanking this one with her Machine and Demon Nets. So that'll be helpful.
Yep, I've used her as a tank more than a damage dealer for the past 6 months for sure.
Yeah, she's at least got that going for her. But yeah, we'll see if it's more magic or physical. I'm sorry, I'm going to rant for just one quick second.
Please.
My biggest concern is that this Clash is going to be yet again have some bug that just makes it either stupidly easy or unplayable. Like I'm getting a little frustrated with Clash of Wills lately, just because like last month the moon, the AI was incredibly basic, and it like instead of imperiling you to the elements, it like buffed your team to the elements, so you could just like walk in with like a team of like no tank, nothing, no leader skills, and just walk in and there was like no danger at all. I'm really hoping that this Clash of Wills doesn't have any kind of stupid bugs like that. I'm ready for a Clash of Wills that is bug free, or at least reasonably bug-free that doesn't just make it a complete joke or unplayable, right?
Did
Sorry, rant over.
That's okay. Did 2 of them ago, the Shogun, did it have a bug?
Shogun was
don't
pretty
think
good.
so.
I don't think it had anything that was like game breaking or unplayable, but it that's becoming the exception.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like is it just me, or does it feel like it feels like that's becoming more of the exception than the norm.
No, there was
feels like the
definitely a
norm is-
string of them where it was like 6 in a row had some sort of issue. So
Yeah.
But one thing I will say about Clash, a trend they've been going, bugged or not, it does seem the design of Clash is just, they've decided to just stop threatening your team. Your team can go literal glass cannon and ignore defenses entirely, and it doesn't matter in the least. And I don't like that. I really enjoyed Clashes that would deal some damage to your team so that you couldn't just completely ignore everything.
You'd have to go some bulk.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really enjoy that because it makes it more dangerous, makes it more interesting, makes it more fun, and it kind of rewards you for having these decent units that have some bulk built into their kit and all. But like recently, like the boss may do 1 physical AoE per turn. You just mirage it and who cares?
Mhm.
And that's it.
A perfect example would be Tsukiko's Clash of Will. The turtle did pretty good AoE damage to your team, didn't he?
mm-hmm.
If I remember.
I think so, yeah.
Oh, that one was really hard too without Tsukiko. It was really tough.
I wouldn't know because I had her. Worked out for me that month, so
Yeah, so I did too, but with the fragment glitch, I didn't have her EX3 at the time
mm-hmm.
because they had it 15 at a time and they messed me up, so I only had 15 out of 16
Mhm.
EX levels. It was sad.
Sad times. So let's go on to the next one. They tell us a little bit about the boss. It uses non-elemental physical and magic, and fire, lightning, dark physical attacks that inflict status ailments. He reduces the elemental resistance of the party and activates a field that boosts his own stats. I recall Tony saying something to the effect of Nora being able to like create fields herself to kind of get rid of that. So that sounds like they're pretty much telling you probably want to at least have her. But there's lots of units that can create fields.
Mm-hmm. And
Yeah,
so
that's not
if it's boosting his stats, you need a field for the enemy side, which is one of the imperil fields. So
Mhm.
something like Sage of Thunder Secure or stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, we're gonna imperil fields will definitely be key in getting rid of that. As much as we hate Esther's LB field, dear God, it will at least get rid of the enemy side. For once, it'll actually have some benefit to affecting both sides.
Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I was thinking
But,
too, because you can spam that really easily anytime you want to get rid of it.
Yeah, and we don't know how often the boss is going to put up with you. Like if it's just like once, like he does it at the beginning of the map, you get rid of it once and you never have to worry about it again, then that's fine. Yeah, bring in the peril field, you're solid. If the boss puts it up like every other turn or reapplies it at the threshold or something like that, then yeah, maybe Esther's LB field will be useful. So yeah, we'll see. I like in the description they seem to focus a lot on the physical damage, which makes me feel like Esther might actually be a good choice for the tank on this one. Like it might focus more on physical, but then non-elemental magic also. If we can put up enough mitigations for the party, maybe we can face tank the magic damage. I guess we'll just have to wait and see.
You see, when I read this, I thought the opposite. I thought they wanted you to magical cover the non-elemental, mirage the physical non-elemental, and then resist gear or resist buff the elemental, because it specifically says the physical stuff is all elemental except for, it does non-elemental too, but it doesn't talk about elemental magic, it talks about elemental physical. So it seems like they want you to resist that is what the way I would personally read that.
Yeah, true. Yeah, absolutely. I guess it depends on the it depends on number of attacks and like boss stats, because I feel like and again the last Clash boss is probably not something we should be using as an example for anything going forward. But like the magic attacks were just absolutely pathetic. Like you didn't need a magic tank for the last one. And so I don't know if this boss will also do that. Like I don't know if the boss's stats were bugged as well in the last one. And that's why it just hit like a wet noodle. But I guess we'll find out.
Indeed. Then they showed us stuff like this. So yeah, they're telling us that Nora can overwrite the area effect, as well as units that increase damage against beasts and machines. He also inflicts an accuracy reduction on the entire party that cannot be dispelled. You can get around this by increasing your own accuracy. And I think you guys were talking about this when I came back from being deafened earlier. What are some examples of some units that can raise our own accuracy?
Probably the two most, Chizuru
Roberta
and Sylvie are probably the two best options.
Okay.
Both of those are 100% for multiple turns for the whole party.
Roberta has it as well, doesn't she? She can be used as like a budget option.
She does, yep.
Yeah.
And
Or if you're going
Roberta,
with the fire team.
yeah, I was gonna say she matches the element too.
That's very true.
Unfortunately, no killers though, so none of her killers match up, which might mean she might not make the cut. But if you got the killers elsewhere, and she's an older unit, so more people might have her EX3 for EX level. So she's definitely good to keep her in the back of our minds.
She also does. I really enjoy her Emissary of Demise skill, just because it just giving everybody with a physical attack or physical type attack mod boost is just. I use that all the time. Like it's super fun. So.
And the other option is to just ignore the accuracy down entirely and use real mages like Genesis to solo cap it. Because last month Genesis did 2.5 himself.
Oh geez, yep. Oh, well, I'm glad I lucked out and pulled one with ticket. Yeah. Although he's only EX1, and I don't think I'll have him EX2 before Clash is over, because I'm still like more than, I don't know, I'm still like 80 shards away from EX2, so that's not happening.
That's out of the question. Yep.
I was also gonna say this seems like more of an issue for single willed, true dual willed anyways. If the boss is only say 50% accuracy down, you could just TDH and you'd be good. It'd be a problem for Rain, Dwayne. It'd be pretty bad.
I'm gonna go build my Rain. I'm gonna go build my Rain TDH now.
Well, his stats are gonna be so low.
It's gonna be terrible. It's gonna be awful. But
whatever works.
Sins, does mages like Genesis just completely ignore the accuracy stat?
The mages that are real magic, like for example the ones you can use on Dark Vision mage stages, yes.
That aren't physical type.
Yeah. Okay, so let me say this. In the game, the only accuracy down stuff that's really used is physical. One time there was a magical accuracy down on a Clash of Wills, and I remember talking about it like, oh, this is so weird because like we just don't even use mages in the game. This is back when mages were just never used. But there was a Clash that had magical accuracy down as one of the skills, and it was completely irrelevant because that was back when mages were dead. So it does exist as a mechanic in the game that has never been used in actuality. But I would not be surprised, now that I'm thinking about it, if they just slap that onto this boss as well, and all of a sudden your magical mages are missing. So they could.
That's how they nerf Genesis right there.
It also depends on how much the actual accuracy down is.
Yes.
Definitely.
Something to keep an eye out for. Obviously, they're not going to tell us in the live stream how to beat the boss, so we have to check that out on Thursday. So, speaking of other things coming on Thursday, we're getting more rings. They're giving us another 3 rings, which I think is really exciting. The Archons is filling morale every turn and then giving you HP and MP and Spirit and a bunch of HP as well. Does not stack. Sinzar here is your flag bearers that you mentioned. Does morale and then more morale based on everybody who's around in the party.
But this one's not being upgraded though. This is really confusing to me. Like it's getting the basic stats that every single ring gets, like the morale per turn and the base stats. That's a universal change to all the rings.
Mm-hmm.
But this one's the passive is not increasing. Every other ring gets a better passive, unless they're just not showing it in the news. But there's nothing talking about the passive being improved.
You mean like the number 2 passive?
Yeah, that's the special, unique, the actual flag bearer passive itself is not being, according to the news, is not being changed, and that is either an oversight or it's really not being changed. So I don't understand.
In the fine print, it does say this is under development. Information is subject to change.
Okay.
But you're absolutely right. It's not there, and they kept on identifying everywhere in the stream. Everywhere you see red letters, that's the new stuff, and we don't see red letters there. So. Well, how about that? And then there's the third ring, the Hermit Celestite ring. This is going to give bonus jump damage, bonus LB damage, and bonus boosted Esper stats and evocation damage by 50%. Do we like any of these rings, or do we think we need to still stick with our Magisters and Rulers?
Currently, this one right here on the screen, the Hermits, there's no one that really needs this. Like, the only evoker that even matters right now is maybe Tsukiko, who is already crept, but she gears for everything so easy. She doesn't need special gear. I guess is looking long term. In JP, the new anniversary JP units are all evocation units, and some of them are a little harder to gear. So this could be good in 5 months, I guess.
Okay. And who knows, by then we might have a whole new batch of stuff anyway. So,
well, jump is kind of dead, but the LB damage is pretty good. What's the other flash stats for the ring? Is it 200 or 300?
It's 200 for Magisters, 300 for the Emperors.
Okay.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I know to think about it. Why is it only 100 for that one? Because like Magisters is so good, and it gets 200, whereas this only gets 100. That seems weird. Oh my god, it also doesn't have spirit on it. What? Most of the evokers are spirit scaling.
Ooh.
What's going on here? Come on, Gumi.
Uh-oh.
Come on.
They're not looking ahead. Don't worry, that'll be the Hermit's ring plus.
Maybe they'll fix it in 5 months.
I will say though, LB damage 100%. If you are somebody who's like never been able to pull Dark Knight Pain, and get a hold of her rings, that is an option. Maybe not the best option, but it is technically more LB damage than the rings from her, and good stats, so it's there. Cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think for us, in the company we're in, like for us, we've got a lot of the best gear for our units already. We're veterans, we've been playing this for a while. I could definitely see it, having some use for newer players, and like you said, for those that don't have certain STMRs. But none of these rings really impressed me personally. I'm sticking with my Magister's rings.
Well, I think the Hermit ring will be a good alternative to players that didn't pull the what is it called? The Armory step up. What is it? All you need is strength. That's a very good materia, but the 100% LB damage is very good. But the flat stats is kind of weird, only being 100.
Yeah.
What they should have done was given one of these rings some TDW.
Ooh.
That would have been real good.
That would have been a really nice. That would have been a draw because, just the lack of stuff. More on TDW in just a second, though. They're also giving us the Nora the Explorer login bonus with.
We made it this far without saying it.
I know we finally had to drop it. We can get her fragments as always, and then tickets and more. Log in and get them. That's pretty much all there is to say about a login bonus. Just come in every day, right? So, on to our favorite portion of the live stream usually, which is Q&A. First question was, would it be possible to have an option to replay old quests so that players can get Master's Crowns for specific units? I'm Not surprised at the way they handled this answer. The team does plan to introduce a feature that's going to allow you to have access to it where players can get them and event exclusive equipment, and they're going to issue an update about the release timeline in-game news once it's been determined.
So
Yeah, at least I'm glad they addressed it.
Yeah, but we know basically nothing more than we knew yesterday.
It feels kind of strange the way they worded it too, because they basically asked, can we bring back events that are, crown specific for units, but they're already doing that with the Vlad, the Emperor Vlad. They've already brought back one crown specific unit event.
Yeah,
so
and
it
I
just
think
seems
this
a little
is
strange.
And I think it's addressing something that, Sinzar, you would know more about this. There's something in JP where it's like a permanent dungeon for these, correct?
Yeah. There's a whole system in JP with keys, and there's a vortex of memories, and all the old upgrade quests, the old upgraded free units, all that kind of stuff. You can run that permanently. So if you're a new player that starts tomorrow in JP, you could go and get set. Well, assuming you could beat the fight, you could go and get like Dark Reigns amplified right away. Yeah.
Now, aren't we also really delayed on that based on our current timeline?
Yes, that came like a month and a half ago based on where the timeline is. Yeah, so we're very overdue for this.
Wait, so if a player missed Dark Reigns amp for the mission, would they just be out of luck until it happened again?
On global, yes. If you don't have it on global, you're too bad. You cannot get it right
that's rough.
That is. It's very, very rough. So I'm glad we're getting it. I'm really surprised that they didn't excitedly hype that this is gonna come and use this as an opportunity to be like, look at this wonderful thing we're doing. But here we are. We're just getting we're talking about it. We don't know when. We'll tell you when we know more. How can you not know more about this? It's delayed already. How much more? I don't know. Goofy Q&A. Here we are. But then this one was a little exciting. Will the team release Carlet's Envy Awakening? And people were just spamming Carlet in the chat non-stop from the start of the live stream. So obviously people care about Carlet. And their answer is they considered and decided to release Carlet's NVA in response to all your comments from the previous live stream. However, it's not going to be right now, and we're going to communicate about her NVA when we get closer to it, and we're going to get her STMAR upgraded and Kunshira's STMAR upgraded this week. In the previous live stream, we didn't give you any information about that, so now we're going to give it to you, is what they said. Nothing against Carlet. Do any of the three of you care about getting Carlet's upgraded, or Carlet as an NVA?
Yes, absolutely, because she is one of those rare NVAs that is actually good.
Okay.
Yeah, she's very strong because in JP she's a cash unit, so she's very, very premium in JP, and because of that, they made her Neovision's Awakening basically the same power level of a current day release. She's not better than Flaring Rain or something, but she's really up there. And if we had her on global, you would absolutely be seeing her in Dark Visions, etc. Because she's really strong. And that's probably the reason she got skipped, because on global, she's completely free. You will see her, you're done. On JP, she would cost you, $3,000 cash. So that's why she probably got skipped. I don't think it really, because she's not absolute top of the meta. She's good, but she's not the best. So I still think they should have just given it to us, and who cares? But if you had to put a gun to my head and say, why did they skip her? I would say because she's too strong for a free unit.
That also begs the question, do you think that they would change it from JP to global, since it's not going to be a cash character on global like it is JP?
Will they nerf her? I seriously doubt it. They'll just delay her until power creep nerfs her.
Yeah, until she's irrelevant.
So yeah. Lauren was another example of this, though, right? Because isn't Lauren a cash character?
Yes. Now her Neovision's Awakening, actually it was pretty good for the time. Very, very early Neovisions. She was actually pretty good. But yeah, she got crowns and all in JP as well. Unfortunately, hers were the bad designer was in charge of those. They were not good. Yeah, but Medina also we skipped, and she was another one that got really good crowns and just free upgrades and became really, really good in JP, and Global skipped all of that.
Yep. We did eventually get her though, and I've used her a couple of times.
We got her awakening, but then JP did another round of upgrades and buffs, and we don't have the latest that makes her more relevant yet again. Yeah, we skipped her next upgrades.
So speaking of the upgrades, here's what we're getting this week. We're getting upgrades to Carlet's Red Hellebore is getting upgraded to 80 attack and magic. No changes to the defense and MP. Cool. Little better stats. And then
nice.
Yep. And then Kunshir, with the one we're all excited about, boosted is raising the attack and magic on it by 15 points, giving you the same resistances to all the elements before, and then it also gives 100% attack and magic, true dual wield, when you're wearing 2 weapons. Awesome.
For both stats.
And this does stack, correct?
Yes, this does.
So you can very easily have 200%, just by putting on the accessories.
So when they finally give us that Neo Vision's Malphasy, she'll be ready.
I'm excited about this one, frankly.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah. Just because, I was thinking about, I've been playing around with, just messing around with, leader skills and true dual wield characters. And, I wanted to mess around with Starlight Elena. And then I went to try and gear her for, full 400% attack and magic true dual wield. And it was just I'm not doing this. So this will definitely help with that. Cool.
I mean, even units like Dark Rain, it would help too. I'm pretty sure you need to use every materia slot just to get his max. It's terrible.
Yep. And then you're gonna be missing out on some killers, except for maybe one based on your Esper and things like that. It's very hard. So I'm looking forward to it. Now, the surprise guest that they brought on was actually from their team, and this was one of the, I think that they said the lead vision card artist, or the designer, Udo, and they had a really nice conversation about how vision cards get made, and they talked about some of his favorites, and they showed kind of gave the backstory on the Leave Things to Me vision card, and the Rain and Fina vision card, and then the Last Well Goes Fishing vision card. Which was pretty cool, just to kind of hear them talking about their process and what the meaning was behind some of the choices that they made and things like that. So I thought I really like hearing from other staff that is involved in the game and what they care about. So for me, this was pretty cool. What did you guys think?
Yeah, it's pretty cool to see more behind the scenes stuff. We talked about this, briefly in the beginning. I mentioned it was cool that they're introducing more people, so that was nice.
Yeah, always nice to hear from other people on the team. And the art is amazing. I love the art on the vision cards. So the dude does a great job on those vision cards. I didn't stick around for the whole thing because I'm definitely more interested in in-game mechanics and stuff like that. I do hope they keep bringing people like this onto these live streams, and maybe see some unit designers. The art is great, don't get me wrong, but it'd be also cool to see some different aspects, unit designers and kit designers, and how they actually go about designing and trying to balance the units in the game.
That'd be a really neat conversation. I can also imagine a really neat conversation would be if they had the unit designer and the event designer side by side, to talk to each other about how they work together or don't work together, whatever the case may be, to kind of create these challenges. Just because I've been playing around with trying to budget up some of these fights lately, and it's sometimes it really just feels like you have to have the newest whatever to be able to do anything in any amount of reasonable speed. Doing the Bahamut fight with Rain and Dwayne is what the one that's going on this week is turn one, have a nice day. But if you do it with a couple of absolute mirror of equity chainers and Roberta, just as an example, because I did it, we're talking 10, 12 turns. And there is no time mission on it, but yeah, yeah, that's a long time to wait around if you're an impatient person. So it would just be neat to see them like work together and talk about that. So I don't know, kind of cool.
The alternative
yeah.
designs for the vision cards is also pretty awesome. The sketches that they showed us.
Mm-hmm. And they said some of those sketches were stuff that they had never released or shown to anybody before. So like if you did stick around and got to see it, they were pretty cool. Another one of his favorites was the vision card that has Ibarra on it. And then they showed the companion, the War of the Visions, the War of the Visions Ibarra vision card too. So it was just neat to kind of like see how they all work hand in hand. So
I wish we had the War of the Visions one instead of the one we have. It's so much better. It's so cool.
It was pretty adorbs.
I guess that just makes me a simp.
Apparently, this is why we brought you on. So last but not least, they talked about chat rewards. Everybody's getting some lapis and tickets and gold keys and energy restores. So awesome, all the usual stuff. And then they threw out they have not done this lately, but they did throw out the milestone rewards for their channel, saying that they passed the 1. They're moving towards getting 70 so that we can all get a Master's Crown. So I mean, who doesn't want more Master's Crowns? Just go subscribe just so we can get Master's Crowns. Free stuff is free stuff.
Those 10 Emperor Gigantors, I'm liking that.
Yeah, let's get all the way to 80,000 for them. Subscribe here too while
When
you're
did
at
they
it.
start this? I feel like it's been a while.
It has been.
And I think it's still gonna be a while before we hit that 80. It might be a while before we hit 70,000.
Yeah. I didn't check.
It's been going on for a while.
I didn't check live what their actual count was. I should have, but yeah.
It was 66,000, I think.
Okay.
During the live stream. So
that's a ways off from 70. Definitely a ways off from 82.
just to let you know, I think it was like 62 or 63 when they started this a few months ago. If that gives you any idea of how long it's going to take.
Okay.
Also, I'm pretty sure they extended this, didn't they? Because the first time they showed this, or maybe the second time, it was supposed to be time limited to get the subscriber count, if I remember correctly. But now it just seems like they're just pushing it forward to get more subscribers for the rewards, which are very good.
I mean, I would not be sad to have 10,000 lapis.
People we should be like yelling at people, subscribe, because like seriously, I mean these are good rewards. Like there's no reason we shouldn't be getting these, but I don't know if it's just a matter of like there's just not that many people that are interested, and like maybe not that many people actually are actively playing and utilizing YouTube. I don't know.
We need to bring the community together.
Hard to say.
And all subscribe.
Absolutely.
Hard to say. I would also challenge them to put out more content on their YouTube channel that wasn't just live streams.
True.
Yeah.
Give us a reason to watch, and people will watch. I'm living proof of that.
You're absolutely right. No, I think you just hit the nail on the head right there, because they used to do like Sinzar was saying, back when Dasol and Shally would do trials and stuff, they would put those videos up on their YouTube page, and they've just kind of given that over to the content creators like us. They're like, oh no, there's Sinzar out there doing all the guides. We don't need to do it in-house because we've outsourced it. But I think you're absolutely right. If they want subscribers to their channel, they need to be doing regular content.
For sure.
Remember the time Hiroki actually said Sinzar during a live stream? That was pretty cool. I remember that one. That was a couple ago. Anyways, cool. Follow, subscribe, whatever. Make sure you hit up Sartre and Sinzar and me too if you haven't already. I'm sure you guys all have. But that brought us to an end. So we ended up talking for twice as long as they did about their live stream. I guess if you include the vision card chat, they did spend quite a lot of time on the vision card stuff. So we technically hit around an hour. So cool. Any last minute thoughts or comments? Yeah.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, overall, this live stream seemed overall better than some of the previous ones. I really enjoyed it. It didn't really seem like it had very much unnecessary fluff. It was good information. The question and answers were just significantly better than we've had in the past. So yeah, I think they're improving.
They also
But-
gave us numbers in a better way, and I also want to just throw out that Tony and Justin's energy again, vast improvements. It's getting better and better to watch them working with each other. So
for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely better than previous ones. I was joking with Chip before the live stream. Justin looked happier than usual, and then he mentioned that he went on a date with Hiroki. I was like, oh, there it is.
there it is. Good stuff. It sounds like they had a good time though. It's nice to hear that, like, that they got to like meet in person for the first time, and yeah. So they also did talk. I mean, we didn't necessarily talk a whole lot about this, but they did talk about the fan event. They were looking forward to them letting people know in the next couple of days, hopefully in the next week, about whether or not they got in. I'm hopeful.
Oh yeah, and the fan event is June 28th or something?
25th.
And they said the next live stream will be at the fan event. So I guess that means we're not getting a live stream for 6 weeks.
Yes.
Oh wow.
I would guess not, unless they did like a bonus one, like that wasn't tied to a Clash of Wills or something like that.
Oh, I guess they could do.
They have done that
standalone.
occasionally, but yeah. But that's kind of my thought too, is that that'll be the next one, which would probably mean, as far as these reviews go, there probably will not be one for that one. At least not in this format. I haven't decided, exactly how all that's going to go, but at that point I'll be in a hotel room, so I don't know how that's going to work. But we'll see. Any other closing thoughts?
Give VV crowns.
VV crowns, please.
That'd be awesome.
All right. Well, guys, thanks for coming and sticking around with me for an hour as we do this. It's always a pleasure to have you guys, talk the implications, not just get the numbers, but talk about the meaning and the value behind what these items and units and cards and all this is actually going to have on the playability of the game. So it's great to pick our brains, and it's also really great to have folks like Chip come along. I'm trying to include more community people in these videos, so it's not just talking head types, and actually get like real players. Not that we're not real players, but other types of players who are having conversations in this too. I think it's been a lot of fun. So thank you so much, Chip, for joining us and being brave. We don't bite too hard. So
I'm not. I had a great time. It seems every single time I talk with you or Sins, I learned something new about the game. Like the magic accuracy down. Had no idea.
I had honestly forgotten about that. So that's, I'm learning a lot every time too.
So did Gumi.
Oof. All right. Well, for everybody who has stuck around this long for an hour, we'll see you guys on Tuesday, where we talk about the news review. Check out all of our various news reviews at the various places that you can see them, and we will see you then. Have a good night, everybody.
Later.
See ya.
Bye.